You know what, of everybody, that's my pick. I don't even know who else is going to be in it. But they announced the John Cena tournament at this show. Starting this week, they're going to have a 16-man tournament. The winner gets to fight John Cena in his final match at the next Saturday night's main event in December. And I think The Miz should win.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Heyo, what is up, gang? Welcome back to the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, right here on Sledgehammer TV. My name is Nick Nightmare, and last night was Saturday night's main event. And honestly, there may be one too many Saturday night's main events in one calendar year. Maybe we should only be doing these things twice a year. That being said, last night's show actually felt like it needed to happen. It felt like a Saturday night's main event. Every single matchup was a championship match. We only had 4 matches. It was in and out, done in 2 hours. It was a very good network special for Peacock. Kind of felt like a traditional Saturday night's main event without some of the extra fanfare that there used to be back in my days when Saturday night's main event was more than just 4 matches and the night's over. There's been a lot of mixed reaction online, I'm seeing a lot of people that really enjoyed the show, and I'm seeing a lot of people that are kind of meh about the show. And that's because there are still things wrong with this show, and that's what I am here for. I am here to show you guys what has been wrong with the WWE and their product, even when things are seemingly going very well. Because the first problem is I feel like the WWE missed out on a huge opportunity. See, the fan base at large, I think, much like myself, is getting a little bit tired of the babyface, good guy, Cody Rhodes championship run. Now, I'm not saying Cody needs to be heel. Everybody's talking about, oh, Cody needs to be heel, Jey Uso needs to be heel, we need to turn all the lame babyfaces heel. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Because you don't need to turn Cody Rhodes heel, but you just need to let him have a little bit of edge. And I think that's what they're trying to do here in this match with Drew McIntyre, but they failed. They failed for 2 reasons. One, the execution of what they did have planned, I don't think went down as smoothly as they wanted. But really, the secondary thing and the more important thing is they chose the wrong finish. Last night at Saturday night's main event, if there was any opportunity for them to get more sympathy for Cody Rhodes, get the fans back on the Cody Rhodes train, while also culminating more heat and more hate and more disdain for the character of Drew McIntyre, all they had to do was make Drew win without actually winning. What was the reason of setting up that stipulation of if Cody gets disqualified, Drew still wins the title? If Cody gets counted out, Drew still wins the title. I think the more effective thing to do would have been to have Drew find a way to have the referee believe that Cody Rhodes hit him with a chair or pulled an Eddie Guerrero or held Cody out of the ring, somehow tied him to a fucking post, something to keep him from returning to the ring for a 10 count. This way Cody loses the title but don't actually lose the match. So now everybody's going to be like, Cody got screwed by Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre's an asshole. We got to fight for Cody Rhodes again, because the story, the more intriguing story, is always the babyface good guy that everybody loves clawing his way back to the top. When you're just on the top and constantly on the top and nobody can beat you and you're better than everybody else and you can cheat and win and have no ramifications, it just starts to get stale, right? And I think that's what a lot of people are feeling. It's the same exact feeling that you all have for Jey Uso, which brings me to another thing that was wrong with this show, was the build and the choice in and of itself to have Jey Uso be CM Punk's opponent. Jey Uso winning that Royal Rumble. Jey Uso is just for context, I love Jey Uso. Me and my family, we go to the shows, we love to yeet along with everybody else. He's a good time. But he had his run. It's time to take a little bit of a step back. I thought it would have been perfect to have him go back with Jimmy reestablish the Usos and bring the tag team division back to some prominence for once. That would have been nice to see. If anybody could do it, you got the Usos that could do it. And I can't even believe these words are coming out of my mouth, but you could reignite the Usos and the New Day, probably one of the greatest tag team feuds in the WWE of all time. Yeah, we've seen it a million times, but that was like 15 years ago, right? So the opponent for CM Punk made this match super predictable. If you didn't know CM Punk was going to win this match, then you really, really don't understand the power sometimes that the fan base does have. I don't believe that Jey Uso was ever considered to win or slated to win the match. This was going to be CM Punk's match. Most likely, the reasoning for Jey Uso being placed in this situation is because out of everybody there, he would be the person that could take the loss and then still next week not really have any damage done to his character or to his aura or anything like that. So I think maybe that's why they went with it. You don't want to have LA Knight lose. If you're going to make him fight CM Punk for the title, I don't think you want to have LA Knight losing. At this point, you don't want to have guys like Jacob Fatu, although he's injured and off the card. I'm just using him as an example, one of the younger guys, or even like a Braun Breaker or somebody like that. If the plan is to go with Punk, don't kill one of the younger guys' momentum or one of the more over guys' momentum when you got a perfectly good Jey Uso willing to do the job, will get the job done, and did get the job done. It's not that the match was not great. There was a couple of iffy spots here and there, but that's to be expected with every wrestling match. I'm not shitting on Jey, and I'm not shitting on the match. I just think that the predictability of the match made it non-interesting. I sat there the whole match just waiting to see how Punk was going to get the finish. And then they weren't even that creative with it. They've done the finish that we've seen so many times where Punk hits the GTS and then the guy bounces into the ropes and then he ends up falling back on his shoulders again for a second. Like we've seen all this and it was fine. And yes, I am extremely happy as a CM Punk fan for the last 25 years of my life to see CM Punk win the WWE Championship. But that, again, brings us to another thing that is wrong, not so much with Saturday night's main event as a whole, but with the WWE's booking as a whole. Because when you think about it, all the top guys are in their 40s. I'm in my 40s. There's nothing wrong with being in your 40s. But don't these guys realize that they're all Hulk Hogan right now? No disrespect to the Hulkster. Love you, brother, all that. But Hulk Hogan is known for what he's known for. And he was a man in his 40s, kicking and politicking his way to world championships throughout his whole midlife. At a time where he was being criticized by many of the guys that are on top right now for not getting out of the way for the younger generation to step up. Now, I do also understand that the younger generation, no disrespect to anybody in particular, just hasn't stepped up, right? Who are your top guys outside of the older crop, or Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, who both don't have that much longer to go? It used to be a young man's game, right? Everybody used to reach their peak or in their pinnacle in their early 30s. And then you got a nice long run ahead of you, and you hang it up somewhere in your 40s, and you call it a day. But now these guys are walking around as world champ in their 40s. You got guys like Edge, Christian, even a little bit below them, Daniel Bryan, Drew McIntyre, The Miz. Old Man Miz, I call him in this house. Do you know why I call him Old Man Miz? I'm actually older than The Miz. But I call him Old Man Miz because of all the old men on the roster, he's the only one trying to do anything with the young kids. But it's coming off kind of cringy. Because, he's a fucking old man compared to Carmelo Hayes. He looks like the dad or the uncle at the party that's trying to be cool. When you got everybody that's your same age group killing it in the top fucking part of the card. Why isn't The Miz up there with them? Why didn't The Miz get a match with John Cena? That's who I want to win this fucking tournament. You know what, of everybody, that's my pick. I don't even know who else is going to be in it. But they announced the John Cena tournament at this show. Starting this week, they're going to have a 16-man tournament. The winner gets to fight John Cena in his final match at the next Saturday night's main event in December. And I think The Miz should win. Because that's where he belongs. And of all of John Cena's greatest rivals, the one person he hasn't faced... I shouldn't say the one person. There's lots of people he hasn't faced. Batista, Edge, we can go on and on all day. That's another video for another day. But The Miz is one of the only men that could say they beat John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. What a way for Cena to close it out, to get that win back. Not that he hasn't beaten The Miz probably 100 times since then, but there's a story there that could be told. I don't know, I'm ranting here and we just went off topic. We're supposed to be talking about everything wrong with Saturday night's main event. But do you see, therein lies the problem. That the most interesting things in the WWE, the most interesting characters in the WWE, the best things to watch, the best people to watch are all the people from the older generation. And that's not to say I don't enjoy myself some of the younger talent. I don't know why guys like Dominic and Penta and those guys are not being elevated. They're just languishing in the mid-card. And Dominic Mysterio in this triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship at Saturday night's main event once again proved and showed to the world that he's one of the most over-friggin' guys in the company. And it's only a matter of time before they pull that trigger. And you know what? I want him to fight John Cena. Why not Dominic Mysterio be Cena's last opponent? Cena could go for the Intercontinental Championship that he's never won. And he could go out on his back to Dominic Mysterio and put the kid over as maybe the next huge thing in pro wrestling. Because he's right there. I don't know. That match was great. You know, I always enjoy Penta. I love how creative they're getting with the finishes here. And how Dominic just always seems to just Eddie Guerrero his way out of every match. And it's just fantastic. Fantastic stuff. I do not like how they have been booking Penta. I'm a big fan of Penta Cero Miedo. I hate how they've been booking him. I don't know why they don't want him to win. Not to take anything away from Dominic Mysterio or whatever, but he should have already been at least Intercontinental Champion, right? This is Penta we're talking about. And if you weren't going to do anything interesting with him, why are you taking his brother and pairing him with every fucking random person in the world? Instead of pairing him with the obvious tag team partner, reforming the Lucha Brothers, and do that. Lucha Brothers versus the Usos. Lucha Brothers versus the New Day. Lucha Brothers versus Gargano and Ciampa. Motor City Machine Guns. It writes itself. It's right there. All you need is to put them together. It would be fucking magical. If you're not going to take them seriously and push them seriously as single superstars and give them legitimate runs with some mid-card titles and eventually elevating them up to the heavyweight championship status, then at least let them do that. And while we're talking about that particular thing, there's the thing that is wrong with Jade Cargill winning the championship tonight. Once again, this was another very predictable match because if you're in the news and you know, like I know, you knew that Tiffany Stratton is nursing something going on with her knee and she's got to go take care of it. So, is she going to win tonight? Well, last night, was she going to win? Absolutely not. You knew that going in. Much like the CM Punk Jey Uso match, I was just watching to see how they were going to finish the match. And the match itself was fine. Jade Cargill herself is super fine, right? Chiseled by an artist. That's what she looks like, right? Like if you could make the perfect female professional wrestler, she would probably come out looking very similar to Jade Cargill. However, I feel like they really missed the mark with her. Just because she was a television champion in AEW and you grabbed her up from over there does not mean she was necessarily ready. Now, they started on the right path. They put her with Bianca Belair, probably much to the chagrin of Bianca, but they ended up becoming women's tag team champions. Probably the most relevant women's tag team championship duo up until now that we have Alexa and Charlotte. But I think for most people, when you think about the women's tag team championships, you probably think about Bianca and Jade. And I think having Jade with Bianca was good for Jade. I think the matches they had were fantastic as tag teams. She probably learned a lot in those times. But she didn't learn as much as she would have learned if she would have just maybe had like 1 year down in NXT. It makes such a huge difference. I feel like my criticism of her is very similar to my criticism of Damian Priest, somebody else who I really, really love and am very high on, and I want to see both of these people succeed. But I feel like they're just stuck in themselves and they're too nervous. And they just don't have the confidence to do what it is necessary to do to get themselves over in the place that we all know they need to be, right? None of these people on the roster right now are equivalent to a Stone Cold Steve Austin or, you know, a Bret Hart, as far as like looking at them as a superstar or looking at them as legends. Like these people just don't have that feeling to me on this roster. And I think part of that is because there's too many older guys hanging around and the younger guys can't get a break. Can't get a break. The tag team division is a disaster. The mid-card is just all over the place. So they still have a lot of work to do. And yes, Saturday night's main event was a very fun show. It was very good. And I thought that all of the winners were okay with the exception of Cody and Drew. I really feel like Drew should have won that match. There's a million reasons why everything would have ended up better that way. But they decided not to go that route. Why? Is it because of what Drew is saying? Is it Cody Rhodes corporate Cody? Right? Is it because of that? Is that why they're afraid to pull the trigger and do something interesting? Is that why they're afraid to make any changes? Is that why WWE seemingly continues to just play it safe and not do anything interesting anymore? Don't you think it would have been better if Drew would have won that match? Would have been better for Cody. Would have been better for Drew. Would have been better for the creative team because it would have given them more shit to do. And I didn't mean to rhyme that, but it totally did. That's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. If you like Saturday night's main event, please make sure to let me know what it is you liked about it down in the comments below. If you didn't like it, you could do that too. Let me know what you didn't like about the show down in the comments. Do you agree with how I feel about the roster? My little bit of a roster rant about everybody being just maybe a little too old and all the young talent just kind of not being cared about enough. Like, shouldn't Braun Breaker be a bigger deal? Like, I can get he's a big deal, but I feel like he should be a bigger deal than he even is at this point. Thank you guys all so very much. Don't forget, if you like this video, to do all the YouTube-y stuff and like, share, subscribe, all that. I'll see you down in the comments. Thank you once again for joining me. My name is Nick Nightmare. This has been the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show right here on Sledgehammer TV as I'm breaking my keyboard on the way out because that's what we do. We bring hammers down on things. I'll see you next time.